known locally as Salisbury Road. You've got a set of toilets here, and then you've got literally a boardwalk running 3/4 of the way to where you're going to fish. So quite a comfy walk. Anyone with barrows or trolleys, you'll be laughing. Side of the road parking, 24 hours with no return, so it's all free. Makes a change. Yeah, very pleasant venue. Let's get the gear down there and get started. Good morning, folks. Back at a different venue today. What I decided to do is go to the next Monday night matches, which is at Yarmouth North Beach. Same as I did the other week with Munsley. Just about to set one rod up and have a cast. Then I'll put one rod out again as I did last week to see what the weed situation's like. As you can see, there's quite a bit on the beach. But sea conditions look right. There's a big old seal out there. Come to say good morning already. Don't know if that's good or bad news. Yeah, there's a brisk southwesterly wind that's showing like 19, 20, but with gusts 25, 28, so a little bit fresh, but sun's beaming out today. Unlike what the forecast said, there's supposed to be a bit of rain, but yeah, that'll be the plan. I've had to put the shelter up to just shield from the wind. So next job's get the rod out, have a couple of chucks, wet the line, and then see what the weed situation's like. I'll start off with one rod again like I did last week, and then if all being well I'll get two rods out. I'm going to probably try and target one rod for rays today, and then scratch around with the other rod, 2-hook clip down, see what's about. So yeah, I'll get on with that now, get set up, and then get back to you in due course. Okay, I've had a little test cast, that goes out nice. Doesn't seem to be any weed on the leader knot when I brought it back, but it wasn't out there long enough really to determine whether there's going to be a problem. So, first rod, as I say, I'm going to target rays with that rod, and so I've set up a simple up and over rig with a 3/0 single hook, and the idea is I'm going to bait that up with a piece of herring and clip that down, punch that out, and we'll take it from there. While that's out, then I'll set up the second rod with more of a scratching rig, something like a 2-hook flapper or something, 2-hook clip down. So yeah, all being well, you can hear that wind buffering around the back of the shelter. All being well, bring you back. As I say, we're going to bait the first rod with herring, and this one was freshly frozen a few weeks ago. I managed to pick them up from a guy in Caister who brings them straight onto the beach, and you see the way I've cut it at a slight angle is to make those fish pieces slightly longer, and they cover the 3/0 hook perfectly. So I'll get that rigged up and then I'll give you a shot of that. So what I do next is split the fillet and then remove the guts part or the roe part in the middle. Then I reverse one section round so that they sort of nestle in together and make a decent bait sized chunk. And then what I'll do now is whip some cotton around that and get it on the hook. Okay, so once the two sections are whipped back to back onto the needle, next job is just slide that onto the hook, bring down the bait stop, and that'll be ready to go. So the next thing you do, offer the needle up to the hook, slide it round the bend, up and over the eye, bring the bait stop down, and make sure there's plenty of hook point protruding. I've just put a file on that to make sure it's needle sharp. So the next thing is to get that set up and get it out. Rigged, ready to go. Let's see what happens. First cast is out, put about 70 yards, something like that out. Just really a gentle lob. And we'll see what happens regardless of the weed situation. In the meantime, what I'm going to do now is beaver around, get the other rod set up. I can see the line moving around with the tide, so that's good. Tip should bend over in a minute when that takes the bottom. Yeah, that's the next job. Let's get the next rod set up. Okay, I've finally got the second rod out as well now. That's got the 2-hook clip down with slightly smaller hooks. I've got a lug and squid on one, and I've got a piece of mackerel and squid on the other. I'm just going to scratch around with that and see what I can catch. The other rod I've still got the herring on the up and over rig. What I'll probably do in a minute is bring that in, check for the weed, rebait it, and whack that out again. Just about coming up to high tide now, and with that wind definitely picked up a bit, and it's put a little bit more of a chop on it. So I think that looks ideal personally, but we shall see. Got quite a few dog walkers already showing up. I've already had about 5 little furry friends poke their head round and stick their nose in my bait, but nothing drastic so far, so I shall plod along and get back to you should I get anything. Ting, ting. Took the chunk of herring as well, greedy sod. So never mind, fish is a fish. Well, first fish. Little whiting, no surprise there really, I suppose. It was in size, it was just over 27, so not so bad if they're in size. Tiny little pin whiting on the waters. The only snag with that is once one of those whiting hangs itself on that, you're obviously not going to get your ray pick it up. So that is the only downside. What I should do now is prep up another herring bait and have another go. Saves the blank as well, I suppose. I'm only cursing them on a Monday night, but fish is a fish, isn't it? At the end of the day. So, what I do is lightly bind that first of all, just to keep it together. out. Second fish of the day, a little dab. I've got him here in the bucket. He's undersized, but he's hit the worm and squid. I can get him out of the shell. A nice little thing. There he is. As I say, undersized, but in mint condition. Just want some of his bigger brothers and sisters. That wind certainly is gusting outside of the shelter. But there you go. It could be gusting like this on Monday, so that's not a bad thing. I think the idea today is just to keep rotating around and scratching with one rod and big fish fishing with the other rod and see what happens. I might be tempted at some point today to load that big single hook up with a big bunch of worm and bang it out and see if I can get anything else, codling or something. Shouldn't mention the C word really, but often throws up one or two up this end. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Mix and match all day. See if I can work something out. A tap on that left hand rod, suspiciously like either a whiting or a flatty. So I'm going to go and investigate that and do a bait change at the same time. what you call a pin whiting. The bait on the other rod's bigger than that. I'll pop him back in there for a sec. Get the baits changed. Get it back out. Wind is savage out there. So I'll do the other rod while I'm at it. So that's been out there for quite a while. New bait on there, ready to go. 2 little mini fillets of herring. Go back to the herring and see how that does. Squid's not produced nothing. Yes, there's a little whiting hanging on there. Sign of a bite. There you go. Doggy, something a bit different than a whiting. So, fingers crossed, get 1 or 2 more of these. shot this time. Doggy's undersized though, I think. He got 38, I believe. And I think he might struggle to make that. We'll have a look. Whiting's undersized. No surprise there. A baby doggy. Ooh, 39. I think he would just about class as a point scorer. So, yeah, looking up. Ray rod's back out. Catching fairly regularly now. We'll get these two back. Undersized whiting and a baby doggy. Right, let's check that left hand rod, see what the baits are like on that one. Postage stamp of a dab, but there you go, it's a dab at least. Undersized, but let's took the little worm and squid. I'll put them back in a sec. Let's get these baits changed. Let's get the rig back out. Let's see what that one brings. Well, the weather's took a little bit of a turn for the worse. The rain came in, we've had a couple of really big heavy showers. Then it gets bright and sunny, big heavy showers, but that's not the problem. The problem now is, unfortunately, this stuff's turned up, and it's turned up in a vengeance. Putting one rod out, and by the time I've got that out on the rest, the other rod's pulled round, so I'm sort of fighting a losing battle at the moment. I'm having half an hour out of the water just to see if it eases a bit. I think it's about another hour and 3/4 till low tide, so maybe I'll have a little dinner break and then reassess things. I've gone mad. I just put the first rod back out again. Bright sunshine and absolute cloud burst. You can't even see the wind farm anymore. So I hope that doesn't go now. I'll be reeling in from under this shelter, I think. Nice bit of tide pull now, you can see the tip bent right over. And as soon as this has blown through and gone, I'll get the other rod out. See if we can rattle another one out. Despite the weed still being an absolute nightmare on the long rod, just as a little experiment, I've put on a tiny little size 6 2-hook flapper and just chucked it down in the gutter here, probably 15-20 yards out. You can almost see the end of the leader knot. And first cast I've had a tiny little whiting, no weed. So what I should do is give this half an hour. By then the tide's going to turn and start to flood. And if the weed disappears, then I might have another hour of the flood. If not, I might just carry on doing this and just see what I can get out. Experiment still going. As you can see, still getting a little bit of weed on the top of where the rig joins the leader, but it's also produced a little fish. Not quite big enough, a couple of centimetres short, but a nice little dab on that tiny little size 6 hook. So something else I can try. Just got to try and get the biggest stamp. Let's get that in, get it sorted, get it out for one last time, and then we'll start macking up. Another little tiny whiting. Didn't see the bite because of the wind, really. That little bit of weed again on the top of the rig, not really a problem. Pop the hook out, put him in the bucket to recover. Get baited up and we'll get one last cast. And start making tracks. The last cast's now in. Weed's getting a little bit worse now, so it's probably not a bad time to pack up. I got this little fella, last chuck, on the top hook, piece of mackerel on my little scratching rig. So something to bear in mind for next week. Most of the stuff's packed away now. Just finish off packing up and get on my way home. Been a very enjoyable session.